Hello folks, it's Gordon here. I hope all is well with you. This video I've called Boom Boom, a couple of goal achievement tips from sport. I've talked and written about sport for so many years because you can see the goal achievement, self-improvement, personal development theories played out in reality all the time, not so many times, all the time. And there's individual stories behind the people. You're never going to run out of content when it comes to sport. When it comes to monetizing content, particularly online, which is what I tend to talk about a lot at the moment. So yeah, boom, boom. And you might be thinking, well, that was the nickname of Boris Becker, wasn't it? Boom, boom, Becker. So it's not a coincidence I've called this video Boom Boom, because he's exactly who I'm talking about. I watched a documentary recently about the rise and fall of Boris Becker, because it started very well for him, didn't end so well, or didn't go so well for him. He's still alive. He ended up in jail for tax fraud, and then got deported to Germany. I think he's allowed back in Britain at the end of 2024, so we might see him again in this country, who knows. But it was a fascinating documentary, and he won Wimbledon in 1985 as a 17-year-old. And 1985, obviously nearly 40 years ago. And here's a little tip, by the way. We'll be able to talk about it again next year, because it will be 40 years. So not only does it provide content all the time, it's content that you can reuse content. You don't always have to be coming up with brand new content when it comes to monetizing content online. So yeah, 1985, it was a different world back then, and a 17-year-old doesn't just come along and upset the order in tennis. It's not done nowadays, really. It certainly wasn't done in 1985. And he hit the ball so hard, hence the Boom Boom nickname. And the other professionals on the circuit didn't think he would get very far, because he hit the ball so hard they couldn't imagine that he would be able to keep the ball on the court enough times, because he hit the ball so hard. Of course, he could keep the ball on court, and he won the Queen's Tournament, which is a grass tournament ahead of a sort of warm-up tournament for Wimbledon. He won that. And before the Wimbledon tournament, in this documentary, his friends were saying, you know, did he think he could win? And Boris was like, yeah, sure, why not? So not only did he believe that he could win, he was asking, well, why shouldn't I win? Yeah, of course. Cocky? Well, arrogant? Or self-belief? He hadn't actually won it before, so he didn't have proof that he could win it. But he had belief. Now, I'm not going to say everyone who enters Wimbledon believes that they can win it. But everyone who does win Wimbledon did believe that they could. That's the key. Self-belief. Self-belief in itself is not enough. But most people who achieve great, spectacular goals did have belief. It's a huge part of the jigsaw puzzle. In fact, it's one of what I call the 8 steps. It's one of what I teach in my 8-step goal achievement formula. So that's the first boom of the Boom Boom. And the second boom is who he played in the final in 1985. Kevin Curran from South Africa. Now you might be thinking, hang on, 1985? Why wasn't he playing John McEnroe? Well, because John McEnroe was knocked out in the quarter-final by Kevin Curran. And you're thinking, well, hang on, why wasn't he? What happened to Jimmy Connors? Well, Jimmy Connors was knocked out in the semi-final by Kevin Curran. So his opponent had done a lot of the heavy lifting by knocking out John McEnroe and Jimmy Connors. Now you might be thinking, well, Becker couldn't do anything about that. Now this is the second boom of the point. Becker couldn't do anything about that. But sometimes when you take action, things open up for you that you can't do anything about, you weren't aware, you wouldn't have planned. And that's what happened in this case. Things opened up before Becker. Action. Again, it's one of what I call the 4 magic words beginning with A. So it is a real boom, boom. As I said in this documentary, things didn't go well for Becker. He won Wimbledon the next year and then won it a third time a couple of years later. Won one of the other majors as well. But he wasn't great with money. One of the people in the documentary, which Becker denies this point, but one of the people in the documentary said Becker could be a charming, charismatic, kind, generous man. But when it came to money, he wasn't. He was rude, obnoxious, didn't pay bills, not very nice when it came to money. And one of the reasons he nearly went to jail 20 years ago before he actually went to jail, nearly went to jail in Germany for tax fraud. And when he did go to jail here in Britain, it was because of hiding assets and then lying about hiding assets. So not very good with money, and it led to a bit of a downfall, obviously quite a lot of a downfall. 2 years in prison he was sentenced to, served 7 months and got out early because he agreed to be deported as soon as so he was put on a plane and sent to Germany. So it's a fascinating story, isn't it? And I say content, sport. I spoke about music in my last video. Sport is another area which is a passionate area of mine, watching sport, because the stories are just never ending. The content is never ending. And we can monetize this content. And it's something I train and coach and teach. I've called it the content monetization machine, which is handy since it's all about setting up a system or a machine to monetize content. And the website is thecontentmonetizationmachine.com, which is handy as well, isn't it? So you can pop along and take a look, or you can message me if you'd like to find out more. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Are you of an age where you can remember Boris Boom Boom Becker winning Wimbledon? I was 19 at the time, so I certainly remember it. Yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts and about those 2 boom, boom, fantastically powerful points when it comes to goal achievement, self-improvement and personal development. Okay, signing off for now. Wishing you as ever health and happiness. And I'll speak to you again soon.